Should you play League of Legends in 2022? Now, before everyone flies to the comments and says no, let's talk about this a little. I don't necessarily disagree with you all, but let's talk about this a little because I was hoping this video would be longer than 3 seconds. League of Legends just entered its 12th season, which in itself is actually pretty impressive. It's one of the very few games that have not died out over the years, and there's definitely something to be said for that. Between the success of Arcane and the beginning of a new season, there's a surprising amount of people interested in playing League of Legends for the first time. So, that begs the question, should you play League of Legends in 2022? Let's start off with the list of why you shouldn't play League of Legends. Point number 1, League is complicated. Whether people like to admit it or not, League is a very hard game to grasp. It's not really one of those things that you can just kind of throw yourselves into and expect to get within the first couple minutes. Shooter games, for example, are pretty self-explanatory. Shoot people, shoot stuff, kill things, win. Okay, maybe it's not that simple, but it's pretty much the basic point. In League of Legends, there's just so much more that you need to learn. Sure, you can kill people too, but there's just so much more that goes into it. There's so many strategies, so many roles, so many champions that you need to understand, which brings me into my next point. There's a lot to learn. Currently, there are 157 champions in the game, not including the one that's being released in a few days. Let's just work with what we got right now. 157 champions is a lot to learn when starting a new game. Now, if you're playing Apex for the first time, you have 19 characters you have to learn. If you're playing Valorant, you have 17 characters you have to learn. 157 is a lot of characters to be thrown at you. This doesn't even take into account the fact that each champion has a passive and 4 abilities of their own. Unless you're a Philios or Auction, in that case you have like 8 abilities. But just for the purpose of keeping things simple, let's assume that each champion has 1 passive and 4 abilities for a total of 5 abilities per champion. If you multiply 5 times 157, that is 785 abilities that you need to learn in League of Legends. Now, some of you may be saying,
"But OJ, it's not 100% necessary to learn every ability in the game."
well, young, sick, tiny Yoda child, of course it's not 100% necessary, but let me put this into perspective for you. Think of the last time that a new champion was released, and they did some weird ability that you've never seen before, and then you die, and you have no f***ing idea how it happened. Now multiply that feeling by 157. I mean, think about how people felt when Karthus was first released. There were probably people just minding their own business, maybe taking an extra wave. Sure, they might have been a bit low, but that's never stopped them before, and then suddenly a beam of light appears above their head, and they're probably like, that's interesting, and then boom, they're dead. I mean, sure, you didn't have to know that ability existed, but it sure would have been nice. The worst part about this is that these are only the champions you have to worry about. There are also hundreds of items you have to learn, and also the runes and masteries as well. In other words, you need to spend hours, days, months playing this game to get good at it. And let's be honest, there's probably something better that we can all do with our time. Point number 3, you don't get a lot when you start. League gives you some stuff when you make a new account, but it's not a lot considering how many champions are in the game. If you're not trying to spend money, it takes about 5 to 7 years to collect every single champion. Now, this isn't a huge deal because they have a free rotation of champions, but if you're trying to get every champion so you can play them when you want to, it's going to be a while. And that's not the only thing you're lacking when you're starting off. As a brand new account, you don't get all of the summoner spells. Say you want to jungle, for instance, because maybe you saw people doing it in a video. Well, too bad you can't, at least not for a while. Instead, you're forced to take Ghost and heal in the top lane. So yeah, right off the bat, as soon as you start playing real people, prepare to be handicapped as a new player. One benefit of playing in 2022, however, is Riot will graciously provide you with free runes and masteries. God bless. They will, however, be chosen automatically for you, which honestly, I don't really mind. As a new player, you already have enough to worry about, so there's no reason to worry about those quite yet. Point number 4, you're on your own for learning. Okay, sure, they have a tutorial that you have to go through first, but let's be honest, it kind of sucks. I mean, the very first thing that happens when you get in there is you get ulted by a Scion. That's helpful, I guess. I mean, sure, overall, the tutorial helps teach you some basics, I guess, but overall, it's really not that helpful. In some cases, I would even argue that the tutorial does more harm than good. For example, why does it make you play in lock screen? Why doesn't it instead go, hey, maybe try looking around the map because it might have some information that will be helpful to you and your team? But no, instead, not only do you start in lock screen, you can't get out of it until you're out of the tutorial. The amount of people I've seen playing on lock screen all the way into their ranked games is kind of disgusting. And it's honestly not even really their fault. It's the tutorials. If you're a victim of lock screen syndrome, please seek help. Anyways, the point is, yeah, you're kind of on your own. You want to know what the jungle is? Too bad. You want to know what quickcast is? Better luck next time. Luckily for us, we do have YouTube videos, which is our saving grace. Point number 5, Smurfs. After you complete the tutorial and a few bot games, you can finally compete against real people for the first time. Unfortunately for you, half of those people you end up playing against are probably going to be Smurfs, otherwise known known as people who've already played the game and are just making a second account, or even worse, they got banned on their main. The way the game is set up right now, it is almost inevitable that you are going to run into Smurfs in your first couple of games. Point number 5.5. A lot of people are watching this video aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying this video and like puppies, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It seriously helps me out so much. Thanks, guys. Point number 6. League is addicting. I mean, sure, all games are addicting, but if you get hooked on League of Legends, the closest thing that I can identify it as is a drug. It's something that you'll always want to play. It's something that's not necessarily good for you, and it's something that's insanely hard to quit if you get hooked on it. The only real difference is drugs don't have skins you can buy. And point number 7, the one we've all been waiting for, League is toxic. League of Legends is a little notorious for being toxic. The people in the game are special and definitely have their moments. I guarantee you, if you play this game, you will come across some of the most annoying and cringe people you have ever encountered in your life. With that being said, League of Legends does have a very magical way of bringing out the absolute worst in people. Honestly, I think most of the people who play aren't actually terrible people as a whole, it's just the game itself. Take Tyler 1 for example. Actually a really great guy, as long as he's not playing League. It's just a naturally aggravating game, which isn't an excuse for some of the things people say, but it does tend to push all of the wrong buttons. If you play this game, you may find a side of yourself that you didn't know existed. Now, with all that being said, let's get into some of the reasons why maybe you should play League of Legends. For starters, League is actually a really fun game. Even though everyone who plays this game gives it an insane amount of crap, there is a reason that we all continue to play it anyways. Sure, the game is annoying a lot of the time, all the time, but the satisfaction of you steamrolling people in the game greatly outweigh the times you get steamrolled yourself. Yes, League of Legends has a terrible rep for being toxic, but a lot of that can be solved by the things you do. For example, I would argue that the majority of toxicity comes from ranked games, and if you're looking for a less toxic environment, then I would recommend not playing ranked games. Alternatively, League of Legends is actually a really great game to play with your friends. It's free, so no one has to buy it. You can pretty much run it on any PC. Plus, playing with friends makes the game so much more bearable. Suddenly, you don't even have to worry about your ADC running it down anymore. Well, you do, you just can make fun of them instead. Sorry, Cody. Point number 2, League of Legends never really gets old. There is always something to do. If you're willing to put in the effort to understand the basics of League of Legends, then there is pretty much an endless amount of content at your fingertips. You can spend months one-tricking a champion, and if you finally get bored of that champion, you can just switch to a new champion. Or better yet, you can try a completely different role, and it's like playing a completely different game. It's almost like there are 5 different games built into one. On top of all that, almost no game will ever be the same. Besides the fact that Yasuo will almost always be in it, there is almost an endless amount of champion combinations to be picked from, which is part of the reason that League of Legends will never really get boring. Point number 3, League of Legends is free. League of Legends is arguably one of the best free-to-play games on the market, which is something we honestly kind of take for granted nowadays, considering every game out there is pretty much $60. Now, if you actually get into the game, you're probably going to spend money on skins or something, so the phrase free is a little bit vague, but the fact you can play the game right now for free is pretty hype. Which also brings me into my next point. Point number 4, League isn't pay to win. It's always scary coming into a game that's been around for a while because you think everyone around you will have a huge advantage since you're new. Better gear, better stats, etc. It'll almost be impossible to catch up to everyone else. Well, the nice thing about League is that you'll be on an even playing field with everyone else right off of the bat. Besides the fact that it makes you take Ghost and heal. Back in the day, this was probably less true since you had to buy your own runes, but nowadays it's pretty much dead even right out of the start. I have no doubt in my mind that people will continue to hate on League of Legends for the rest of time. And as you've seen, there's a lot of good reasons for that. It's almost ingrained in every single League of Legends player's instinct to tell people not to play this game. But at the end of the day, there is a reason why millions of people do continue to play this game. There's a reason why League Worlds 2021 had over 73 million live viewers. League of Legends is a good game, and it's clearly good enough for people to continue playing it for over 12 years. So, in conclusion, I really do have to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's worth a shot. Just know what you're getting yourself into, play with the right people, don't play rank if you don't want emotional damage, and most importantly, /mute all. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Thank you, Josh Poof, for being a tier 3 patron, and thank you so much to all my other patrons as well. You guys are seriously amazing. Peace!